Welcome back to Studio F, where on Fast Times Willy B, we'll be reviewing Speak No Evil. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell!
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Rosie back. Rosie, how are we doing?
Good, excited for another new release.
Yes, so today we'll be reviewing Speak No Evil, which is a remake of a film that's only a couple years old. Mm-hmm. This one directed by James Watkins. He did The Woman in Black for movies that I've seen from him. Mm-hmm. We got James McAvoy, we've got Mackenzie Davis, we've got Scoot McNairy. Very solid cast. We'll hop right into the good, and honestly, the acting. I mean, so I'll start by saying I did not love the original movie.
Okay.
I think it was some cheesy doll. It's foreign written.
Okay.
So, maybe it's just that disconnect that,
right.
It's not American made, and maybe the dialogue is better, over in the Netherlands than it would be for something like this. This one does take place in the UK.
Yeah.
And Italy has a little bit of a connection in this one, where they go on vacation. But I like the dialogue a lot more in this one, and I think James McAvoy shined.
Absolutely. I think he's great in most of the things he's in. He never misses. He's just very passionate about what he does, and you can tell by his everything. Yeah. Just like the way he speaks, and every character he plays is so different. Mm-hmm. So he has quite a broad acting career thus far, so this was an easy casting choice, I feel.
I think James McAvoy is a criminally underrated actor. I feel like he's an actor that's not talked about enough when you're talking about actors that are usually at the top of their game.
Yeah.
Obviously in Split, we get a performance that's unlike any other because he's playing, how many ever different personalities.
Yeah, that is hard to do.
Yes, for sure. This one, it felt like this character was one of the personalities.
Yeah.
It did. Just that, animalistic part. He got huge for this movie. He said that he was doing Olympic weightlifting to get in shape for this film.
There was one scene, and I was like, we seen him, with his shirt off, and I was like, holy cow, when did he get so buff? Because in Split, he...
Yeah, he's big and Split, but in this one,
insane. He's also
he
older,
hides it well in this one, too, based on what he's wearing.
Yeah, and then he came out of the shadows.
Yes.
I was like, holy cow.
But, he put a lot of work into this character, and...
It shows, for sure.
Yes, he was fantastic. Not to take away from the rest of the cast, either. I thought we got two great child performances here.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I thought Mackenzie Davis and Scoot McNairy as Ben and Louise, I thought they were great, too, as that, couple that's really going through it all. And I think that's another thing I liked more about this one. In the original, the Ben and Louise, I don't even think his name was Ben, I think it was Bjorn and Louise. I don't know, their story and background and all of that didn't hit home as much as the one did in this one. I think, like I said, it's a remake, but they took different paths. Overall structure's the same, you meet this couple and while you're on vacation, they invite you to their home, and when you get to their home, they're this murderous family that keeps cycling through kids.
Yeah.
That's all pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. But some of the dialogue, I think the comedy was much better in this one, and again, a lot of it's James McAvoy.
Yeah.
You have the toilet paper scene. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, just to throw him off.
But just overall, I think the cast really made this a much better watch experience for me. I think this one was written better too. I think it was the tension was very well written.
The dialogue was really good. Sometimes I feel like with a tense movie or if you can call it a scary movie, I guess, sometimes the dialogue gets pushed under the rug. Yeah. Because most times people are there just for the scare factor or the tension or the plot twist or whatever. So I feel like sometimes with a scary movie or something really tense that the dialogue doesn't really hit just because nobody's there to listen to them talk or anything.
Well, I think what set this one apart too is, so you and the two buddies we went with, this was your first experience of Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
So you guys had nothing. You had no, preconceived knowledge of what to expect from this film. You've just seen the trailer 3 million times because they showed it forever.
Yes.
For me, I had seen the original. And so I was like, okay, I think the hype was a little lessened because of how I felt about the original. But even then, like, the tense moments, I still felt tense, even though, like, I had an idea of what could have happened. But they went different routes, and I think that's what really made this movie. I think one of my biggest flaws with the first movie is how it ends. And this movie's third act is fantastic. It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
The third act of this movie, you get that final hunt between, our Patty and his wife, Kira. And hunting Ben, Louise, Aunt, and Agnes. And I think that hunt is so intense. You have the cook guy that comes into the hunt and the kills that you see and all of that. I mean, the falling off the roof, the tension there.
Yeah, for sure.
Aunt getting his last, hoorah, and it's just all so well done. You're like, my goodness. I know. What an ending.
I was patiently waiting for that to happen because, I had never seen the original, I suppose. And based on the trailer, that's all you get is them being, kind of suspicious and acting weird. So, like, I was kind of glad that we got a pretty big backstory on everybody and them, like, being friendly and how we lead up to this, because sometimes in a movie like this, they just cut right to the chase. And you don't get any backstory or much to lead up into the big suspenseful moment, so I'm glad the third act went out with a bang. Yeah. Literally.
I like the reveal of the what they do when Aunt shows Agnes.
Yeah.
His name's not Aunt in the first movie. I think it's like Abel or something like that.
Aunt's more fitting, I feel.
Yeah, this one, most of the names are the same. Like, Patrick is the same. Kira wasn't Kira. I can't remember her name in the first movie. It wasn't Ben and Louise. It was Bjorn and Louise. And then it was Abel and Agnes. Now it's Aunt and Agnes. So they kept some of the names. But the way he shows her in that whole scene in the piggyback ride and clipping the keys back on, like, again, just a lot of tension. And I think it was really well done. Spoiler alert is obviously on this, but spoiler alert for the original one. The original's ending, they don't make it out.
Really?
Patty and Kara win.
Really? Now I'm kind of interested to see it.
And I didn't like the way it ended at all. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to dive into it because this is a review of the new one. But I think, not to, like, it's always cool to go different and let the bad guys win for once. I just didn't like the way it was executed. And this one, I kind of thought we were going to get the bad guys win because of how the first one ended. And I thought it was going to be better executed, but how it ended up ending, I was like, okay, I still like this way more.
Yeah.
And a lot of it just falls on the writing. Not to take away from that first one, a lot of people love that first movie. It just wasn't for me, and I think getting an American director, I hate saying that because I don't knock films for being foreign.
Right.
It just, maybe some of the jokes didn't land because of that, culture barrier.
Exactly.
Maybe some of the dialogue didn't make sense to me. So I think just getting it from that standpoint and getting James Watkin, and I like this one way more.
Yeah, I thought it was great. From the first time we went and seen a movie and it was playing as a trailer.
Yeah.
I was like, we have to see that. And you're like, I don't know. It's pretty much going to be a shot-for-shot remake of this old one. I don't really like it. I was like, well, I've never seen it.
It's hard to even call it an old one because I believe it's, 2022?
Oh, well,
when Speak New came out?
Older
So
one.
2 years? Yeah.
Yeah. So you were like, I don't know. And then it kept getting closer, and I was like, hey, when are we going to go see that? And you're like, it's coming up. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited to go see it. But I never really, wanted to see the first one just because, I don't know. Because I kept asking you, I was like, do I need to see it? And you're like, no, it's going to be a shot-for-shot remake. And I was
not shot-for-shot, but it's going to be, the same thing. It's not a sequel, yeah. It's a remake.
So I was pleasantly surprised.
For sure. Something the first movie does really well, and this movie did it really well too, is cinematography. I mean, you get a lot of, the pan-out shots of, just where they're at in the world, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the shots when they're jumping into the lake, the shots when they're driving into, Western Europe, and stuff like that. All well done. Italy looked great. Overall, it was a great movie, very tense, a really good horror thriller, and sure. I think it is better than the original.
I hope people don't snub it because they didn't like the first one. Yeah,
I like the music too. Some of it's really tense and good when the score side of things, and then the music, like when Patty and Ben are on their car ride to go hunting together, and he's singing that song. Just they use it for comedy too. I there was a lot I liked about this movie.
I would agree.
Do you have anything else that really sticks out in the good for you?
I think we nailed everything.
Okay, so we'll hop to the meh. One of the mehs I have, I would say, is the camera work on the scene when they throw Ant into the water. We get a lot of zooms, ins and outs, and I didn't like the quick zooms. It kind of hurts the head a little bit.
I didn't even notice.
Really, that's it. I really like this movie.
Me too. So just that one scene?
I mean, yeah.
The one couple of seconds?
I mean, from the story standpoint, having to turn around so the kid can get a stuffed animal, I think, is dumb, but I guess, like, if they're emotionally attached to it, maybe it's a different situation than I'm ever used to. I don't think I've ever had anyone in my life that's that emotionally attached to a stuffed animal. So to me, I'm like,
growing up,
if I left Cookie behind, they'd buy me a new cookie. Like,
growing up, that would have been me.
Yeah.
You know how
so maybe that hit home for you, but for me, because that's in the original, it's the same thing. They escape before they even know why they're leaving. And they go back and they have the run-in where they're like, you left without saying goodbye. Like, so that was in the same movie, and both times I was like, I just got a new cookie if I left him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a lot easier to say that if you had known what was actually going to go down.
Right.
Because even when she finds out, Agnes is like, I don't need him. Like, I just want to go home when he's up in the gutters in this one. So, I mean, that kind of shows, but I would say that maybe for the meh. But really, there's not a lot of, I think, for that first movie, things that hit me were, things maybe I didn't understand. The comedy wasn't funny to me. And again, that might be culture things. I didn't like the ending. But this one, those are all things I ended up liking. I liked the comedy. I loved the dialogue. I thought the ending was the best part of the film.
For sure.
So,
I definitely agree with the ending.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything in the meh.
Yeah.
Personally.
And I don't have anything in the bad.
Well, I don't think I do either.
So we'll hop to our final thoughts and ratings. Sure. What do you want to leave off with? Speak No Evil 2024. And what do you give it out of 10?
Well, I think this is the first movie in a while we haven't had a bad.
Well, I mean, there's been a few 25th anniversaries, but for new releases, maybe.
New releases.
Well, you've been on some pretty big stinkers for new releases outside of Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
I mean, you got Imaginary, you got Sting, you got
that's unfortunate.
Garfield.
Hey, I liked Garfield.
I didn't.
So I think I'm just gonna leave off with saying that now seeing the second one or the newest Speak No Evil, I think I would love to go to see the first one and kind of compare because I feel like my brain would have been boggled down with, well, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If I would have seen the first one first, like you're supposed to. But
I think seeing this first was the right play.
I'm excited.
Because this was much better.
Good. So I'm excited to see the first one and compare. One last thing before I give my rating. I want to know if, with all the other children that they take, if they also cut their tongues. So they could. So it was like that for all of them.
So they couldn't tell them.
So they couldn't tell what was going on. Okay, I didn't get that. Like I couldn't tell if it was just him or if it was all the kids that had happened to.
And that's where the Speak No Evil comes
exactly.
from,
Yes, and I understand. And I just really love that scene of them down in the
cellar.
Down in the cellar and him showing. Because it's so weird that he knew that was there.
Yeah.
Like, how does he know that's there? But he seems like a pretty insightful little boy. So, so that was it. That's like one of my things with the movie. I would like to give, well, I can't really give, I mean, it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I didn't have anything in the meh, and I didn't have anything in the bad.
I mean, that's fair. Like, just because something's good doesn't mean it has to be perfect.
No, I really enjoyed it.
For me,
I love the story.
That's fair.
The story was fabulous, and the acting.
I mean, it's getting great scores from everybody, so 10 out of 10 is really not outlandish.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to go 8.5.
Okay.
I think it's pegged below 9. I don't think it's phenomenal, but I think it's a great movie. I think it's much better than the original for me, again, like I said. And I hope people go and check this one out despite no matter how they felt about the original. Because I know the critics love the original, the popcorn meter they call it now, I know is I think like around 50% for the original. So I know it's a hit or miss movie, that original one. And for me, it was a miss. And for a lot of people, it was a hit. Whether it was a miss or a hit, go check this one out. It's worth it. I think it's a great film. I think James Watkin did a great job with the direction. I think James McAvoy is in his element. I think he's one of the most underappreciated actors out there, and he shows why in this one. If you haven't seen Split, that's another one where I think he kind of goes under the radar. A lot of people don't talk about him enough, and these are two performances I think are, top tier when it comes to like just
outstanding performance.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, solid 8.5.
Okay.
That'll do it for Speak No Evil. Rosie, thank you for coming on.
Always pleasure.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. Go check out Speak No Evil if you haven't already. And we will talk to you all soon. Peace.
Peace and love.